see how this works. Hey YouTube, it's me, Michael Me. I've already recorded this video once, and here we are recording it again because I fucked shit up, so here we go. I am joining the army, as you can probably tell by the title of this video, and I'm here to talk about what that means, particularly for a transmasculine individual. I am non-binary and transmasculine leaning, although I have recently come to, I guess, the discovery that I don't care what pronouns people call me anymore. I used to go by strictly he, him pronouns, and then I went by he, they, and now I don't care. This is putting a little bit of a hold on my transition, although not permanently. You cannot continue your transition at basic training, aka boot camp. So there you go. That's as of, right now. I was so confused because this is a dream of mine, is joining the military. I'm joining the army, by the way. So everything I'm talking about is specifically about the army. I was so confused because I couldn't find any trans people that were in the military. So I might be the only one that's talking about it right now, because trans people typically don't join the military. It's just something that doesn't really happen. Having pride in your country is something that's really difficult, especially during hard times right now. So I completely understand. Me, however, this is a dream of mine that I had since I was a kid, and I realized that I think it's really important for me to do it. I found the opportunity, I took the opportunity, I swore in 2 days ago, so yay, I will be shipping off to basic training, aka boot camp, March 30th. That's not a definite date, but it's most likely going to be that date. It depends on whether this drug test comes back. It's not going to come back positive, but it's possible, I guess. Unlikely, very unlikely, but it's possible. So let me explain what goes on. So I have to join the females in the military. For a lot of transmasculine individuals, that might be a big no-no. Well, the thing about the rules is, and I'm not going to fight the rules, if you have not physically transitioned, that includes top surgery and bottom surgery. Top surgery and or bottom surgery. If you're a trans woman out there, I do not believe you need top surgery in order to be with the women. But I'm not sure, really, because there is not anybody who is a professional in this. The rules in the book are very unclear about trans individuals because it's still a very new thing. So I'm just here to explain what I've been going through and what it might be like. So, because I do not have a plan whatsoever to get bottom surgery, I cannot join the men. And I will have to hold off on getting my top surgery until after I get back from basic training, at least. I signed a 6-year contract, and in this 6-year contract, I will be in the Army Reserves. So I will still be living where I'm living now. In fact, I'm about to move in with a roommate, so I'll still be living with that roommate. I still have my cat and stuff like that, and I think in about 2 years' time, I will move into active duty, which means I will be moving all over the place. I gotta find someone to marry before that so I can live in the barracks at a house so I can keep my cat. I'm gonna marry someone specifically so I can keep my cat. Okay. So the whole thing about being trans, being in the military, is when you go off to MEPS, which is the military, I don't remember what the E stands for. Exclusive processing station? I don't remember. Military processing station, where they determine whether you are good enough to be accepted into the military. MEPS is very controversial in the fact that they put you through a lot of stuff, through a lot of shit, in order just for you to join the military. For a trans individual, it might be especially hard because you have to strip. Basically, I had to be in a room with 8 women and nothing but panties and a bra. They will not allow you to wear a chest binder or boxers, which I think that rule might be able to be bent a little bit, but I wasn't going to test it because this is my dream job. So, and it's not like I necessarily cared anyway. I've gotten to the point where my pronouns don't matter as much to me anymore. This is not every trans person's experience, but it is my specific trans person experience. And if anyone out there calls me a trender because I don't mind being called a woman anymore, I will come after you. I am a trans masculine individual. I have preferred pronouns, including he and or they pronouns. But if someone calls me she, her pronouns, I do not care anymore. I don't. This is more of a thing. The thing about it is you cannot think selfishly when it comes to the military. You are part of a large group, and it's not about you anymore. When you join the military, you're joining a group of people that are fighting for the country and fighting for people's rights. I joined the military specifically so I can fight for people like me and their rights. And so I can share my experiences and live out my childhood dream of being in the military. I had to take up a lot of sacrifices. I stopped testosterone 6 months ago. That leaves my voice at a permanent medium level, I suppose. When I'm talking naturally and not whispering like I am because I'm at work, I sound like a man. But I can also raise my voice and start sounding like a woman. I'm at such an androgynous range right now that when people look at me, everybody has a different interpretation of my gender, which was my ultimate goal to begin with, you know? I started out wanting to be the most masculine person alive and only wanting to be perceived as a masculine person. And now that I've lived out some of my trans experience, I've been transitioning. I transitioned socially 4 years ago, and I've transitioned medically back in 2017, 2019, sorry. Transitioned medically in 2019, and stopped testosterone back in June of 2020. So it is not this is not something that is for trans people who cannot handle it. And that's not a comment on how weak trans people are, because trans people are not weak. Trans people are some of the bravest and most noble people I've ever met. But when the only way I can explain dysphoria is it's horrible, and you would never want to purposely force yourself into it, because being called any pronoun, doesn't give me dysphoria anymore. Though I used to have extreme dysphoria with being called a woman, I don't care anymore. I don't experience dysphoria because of it, and gender dysphoria is fluid in a sense of my transition. Specifically my transition. I'm not talking about anyone else's transition. If I get called out for this bullshit, I'm going to kill somebody, alright? I experience my transness in a different way than everybody else, okay? I am fine with any and all pronouns, okay? I do not mind being placed with the women. It is a very interesting experience, considering I have not been considered a woman in over 4 years now. At least, I came out to myself 6 years ago, and hardly ever does anyone call me by my birth name, and yet that's what I have to go by. Everyone in the military, though, calls me by my last name. Actually, they call me Christian, which I am perfectly fine with. If I was called my birth name, I don't know how I'd react necessarily. I know everyone's gonna know it, but because I don't associate that name as me anymore, it just feels kind of weird. Everyone that I met at the military processing station, all my recruiters, everyone has been so incredibly kind to me. And loving and forgiving. I thought it was going to be a dangerous experience I was putting myself through. but is actually a very loving and accepting people that are around. It is a very interesting experience for people that don't know what it's like necessarily. It's kind of harder. It's really hard to explain. Um, but everyone I've met so far has been very nice to me. Now, the thing about MEPS is they will ask a question, including your gender. They will ask what your sex assigned at birth was and what you identify as. I was told not to tell them I was trans because of the amount of paperwork it would take. And I did not feel like paying paperwork, so I didn't tell them. But I met plenty of friends there who understand that I'm trans and understand why I was uncomfortable being undressed in front of women. And MEPS puts you through a very uncomfortable experience. It's uncomfortable for everybody, not just trans people. It's very rare for me to come across any trans person that has been in the military or is currently joining the military. Because of our current political climate, it is a very different experience for trans people, and it's extremely hard to explain unless you're going through it yourself. Just know, if you would like to join the military and you want to be with the gender that you identify with, just know it's going to be very difficult. I completely understand why they would want you to transition before joining that gender. It is unsafe for trans-masculine individuals to be with the men if they have not physically transitioned. And this is why. The trigger warning, I'm talking about molestation and stuff like that. So the amount of rape cases in the military are sky high. And putting someone with feminine body parts in a room full of men who have masculine body parts is very dangerous. And the military does not want lawsuits on their hands. They're not here for that. They do make very clear that if you are sexually harassed in any way during the entire visit, that there is a hotline you can call. You can report people, and they will make sure that you are safe. But for trans individuals, it's that much harder. Because I'm trans-masculine and I have feminine body parts, I decided to be with the women because I felt like I would be safer there. And everyone there is so accepting and so kind and beautiful. Most of the women there were part of the LGBT community and understood what the struggle is like to be part of the LGBT community. Not particularly to be trans, but to be part of the community. Most of the women there were bi. So I was like, hit me up. I made some friends. I made some great friends. And it's not a bad experience. It's something that trans people in general will have trouble going through. But if you want to join the military and you want to be a part of this legacy of being a trans person in the toughest military in the world, I'd suggest that you join. It's amazing. I have not been shipped off to boot camp yet. When I do, I will not be given my phone, so no videos. I will have to give an update when I go off to IT, aka individual training, right after boot camp. So I just wanted to make this video to talk about what it's like to be trans, particularly non-binary, and be in the military, because it's different. Most of the people there, most of the friends there, know me as a drag king and know me as someone who is very androgynous. And that's the gist of what they know about me. We all became friends particularly when we all had to be naked in front of each other. It was fun. It was a fun experience. MEPS is not as horrible as everybody makes it out to be. I had fun, at least. So I made some great friends, and it was an amazing experience. So I highly suggest this experience for anyone out there. But for trans people, I suggest you to be safe and take the safest option. Safest option. Okay? Alright. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments below, and I will try to answer them the best I can. Just know that you're not alone. Although I couldn't find anyone who talked about the current experience in the military, with joining the military and being a trans person, no, you're not alone. I am here to give any advice I can for any trans person out there. Trans feminine, trans masculine, completely androgynous, I don't mind. I will tell you what it's like, including the current political climate there. I made lots of friends, guy friends, girlfriends. I made some other androgynous people friends. They still identified as feminine though, so I don't know. But that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, any questions, ask them in the comments. Thank you. Have a good day.